everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about jobs. So finding the types of jobs that you want, making yourself the most competitive, and helping you to land those jobs. In general, I know people are switching jobs, switching careers, looking for something new or that next step. And especially now during this quarantine situation, a lot of people are out of jobs or just looking for something that pays a little more because they took such a financial hit. So I'm hoping that this video is going to be able to give you guys some guidance and some really great ideas to make yourself the best candidate and to find that perfect job for you. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe below. And if you find the content of this video helpful, please click like. All right, guys, let's get into it. So this first one is finding the right jobs and making sure that you are positioned to be able to find those jobs or let those jobs find you. So the first thing we're gonna do is, of course, we are going to update that resume and you are going to make a generic cover letter. And basically we are just using this to sell ourselves. Every job that we apply to though, we are going to be tweaking this and customizing it for that position. So don't worry about getting too much into specifics because you will be editing it for each application. Next, you need to update your LinkedIn. Make sure that in each of your job experience lists, it says more than just, here's what I did. Use this as a mini brag book and just make sure that it lists all of your accomplishments, not just what you did. And another thing with LinkedIn is you can actually turn on for recruiters to see that you are actively seeking a job. Go ahead and turn this on so you aren't just seeking jobs, but jobs are seeking you. Next, you are going to post your resume on job boards. Post your resume on Indeed, post your resume on Monster. And there are dozens of other job boards. Post your resume there. This is another way that you aren't just looking for jobs, but recruiters and the companies themselves can reach out to you. Okay, next, you need to figure out what you're looking for. So first off, what is the income that you want? Maybe it's the culture, maybe it's the management style, maybe it's the size of the company, maybe it's PTO or benefits. Figure out what is the most important to you and write them down. Use this as a guidebook to figure out which job postings are right for you. Every time that you find a job posting that you think you like, don't just apply. Now it goes research time. So you are going to search them on Glassdoor, you can search them on LinkedIn, you can search them on Google, but I find Glassdoor to be the most telling. So in Glassdoor, you can check, is this a publicly traded company? You can also find out the salary, yay! Look at those salaries, look at the breakdown of benefits, look at the reviews. So the reviews that current or past employees have left about the company. This can tell you so much. The pay may be great, the benefits may be great, but turns out they micromanage like crazy and love firing people or something. You know, you need to look at the entire package and figure out, is this company right for you? Another thing is when you're checking those salaries, if you wanted, say, 80,000 or 120, whatever it is, and you look and say you wanted 80, and their range is from 50 to 80, that's their salary range on Glassdoor. You probably don't want to apply for that job. Because if you're coming in and you already want the top salary, you have to keep in mind, some of the people reviewing here have been at the company for years. So you coming in brand new, you are probably not gonna get the biggest salary. So you need to make sure that when it comes to your salaries, or if it includes bonuses, commissions, the total comp package, you need to make sure that what you're looking for is around the middle section, bottom to middle section. Next thing is you need to apply for jobs that you are slightly underqualified for. Don't just look for jobs that you are perfectly qualified for because you're not going to get paid what you want. So basically, companies will always list their expectations or experience as significantly higher than they will actually accept or are actually looking for in order to weed people out. So just as an example, my first sales job, they wanted 2 to 3 years of sales experience. I had 0, and I got the job. My next one, they wanted, I think it was 3 to 5 years of medical sales experience. I had 2 years, and it was food and beverage. I definitely didn't qualify, but I got the job. This new job that I just got, they wanted a master's degree, and they wanted 5 to 7 years of medical sales experience. Guess what? I had 3.5 years of sales experience, only 1.5 was medical, and I only have a bachelor's degree. So I technically did not qualify, but guess what? I got the job. Don't limit yourself by what they say they need, because many times that's just, I mean, it would be great if, but if you're a great candidate, they want you. Next is job applications are a number game. You are not going to be a perfect fit for every job. So what I do when I apply for jobs is I apply for 6 to 8 jobs every single day. I make it like a part-time job to find a job. And this is important because out of those, you're only gonna hear back from a handful. And by casting my net so broad, I have always been able to get several interviews, a couple offers, where I get to be the one that chooses what I want. The next thing is weed out jobs. Just because they are technically what you're looking for, don't just apply because maybe you qualify or it's the type of job or industry you're looking for, maybe because they pay well. If this isn't exactly what you want, or you wouldn't be excited to be hired or start at this company, don't apply. There are so many jobs out there. So wait for the right ones and only apply to those. So this next section, we're gonna talk about preparing for interviews. So if you get asked to interview, here are some ways to make sure you are as prepared as possible. Research the heck out of that company. Look for 3 top things about that company and about that specific job that made you want it. Because if they ask you, so why this company, why this job? Want money? Make sure you have that prepared beforehand. Next, you want to stalk the interviewer. Stalk them on LinkedIn. Find out their previous job experience. Find out where they worked before. Find out their interests. See if you have anything in common. Maybe you guys are from the same hometown. Maybe you guys went to the same college or have the same degree. Find things that you can use to draw parallels, or that you can maybe touch on that will make it sound like, oh my gosh, you were accidentally the perfect candidate. Who knew? Next, reread the job posting and look at everything they were looking for in an ideal candidate. And think back to your own experience and find things from your experiences, skill sets, or maybe personality that would be relevant and show that you check off that box that they're looking for. The next thing is you want to practice your answers to generic interview questions. So you can either Google some, you can try to remember different interview questions that you were asked when you were applying for your current job and put together a list. And then friend, sibling, family member, have them interview you. So call them over FaceTime, Zoom, Skype, and recreate the interview so that you can practice your answers. If they catch you off guard with certain questions, you can practice how you would respond to that. Along with that is you want to prepare stories. So any of your skill sets that you want to touch on, you don't want to just tell them, I'm very organized. Cool, anyone can say that. Use these stories to tell them what is so great about you or a time that you showed those skills. That's what they care about. Next is you need to remember that this is not just them interviewing you, you are interviewing them. So you need to make sure that you are preparing questions for them as well. Put it back on them. So many people, when it comes to question time, just say, nope, you answered everything. You don't look prepared, and honestly, it just looks like you are just trying to gain from them. You need to show value. And you need to ask them to show you value. You need to show that I'm not just here so you can hire me. No, you need to show, hey, you know, I don't really need this job, so tell me why I should want this job. Okay, next, let's talk about at the interview. So to the interview, you want to bring a resume. And if applicable to the job, you also want to bring a brag book. Basically all the information about your accomplishments and bragging points. So if you're in sales, this would include things like President's Club, meeting quota, awards, things like that. You also want to bring a notebook. So you want to make sure that you're taking notes also, because remember, they aren't just interviewing you, you're interviewing them. If it's a video interview, you want to make sure that your background is plain and not distracting. We want the focus to be on you. That also goes for your clothes. So we don't want to wear bright prints, bright colors, whether in person or video. You want to be professional but neutral. You don't want to distract from yourself. The next thing is practice explaining your current company and your current role in under 30 seconds. When someone says, okay, so tell me about your company and what you're currently doing, they don't want to hear you talk for the next 5 minutes. The next thing is keep in mind that whenever you answer any questions, you want to be as short and concise as possible. So when you're practicing your interviews over Zoom or FaceTime like we were talking about earlier, make sure you're using that time to practice trimming down your answers. The next thing is make sure that you prepare 3 reasons why you are so valuable and desirable. Now, going back to rereading the job posting, make sure that these align with what they're looking for. Remember, you just wanna like keep drilling in that you are the best candidate. So now you have gotten the job offer, congratulations. But now what? So for this, I have 2 things. 1, employers will always start low with the salaries, always counter offer. They are expecting to negotiate. Just like whenever you buy things like cars, they're gonna start high because they know that you're gonna negotiate and you guys are gonna end up in the middle. They're not expecting you to buy it for this tip-top price. When they're giving you an offer, they're starting at the bottom because they're expecting you to negotiate and they know that what they're actually willing to pay you is somewhere around here. So you need to come in high. Show them that you know your value. If they tell you that that is as high as they can go, so be it. But many times, a company is prepared to negotiate. The second thing is that just because you accept that job because it's an upgrade from where you're at, doesn't mean that you are now done with your job search. If in 1, 2, 3 weeks, another company that you really wanted that's an even better fit for you comes and wants to interview you, do it. What do you have to lose? You are not locked into that job. Yeah, they're not really gonna appreciate it, but you need to do what's right for you. So if this other job, you end up going through the interview process, you get it, maybe that's your dream job that you've been waiting for. Don't think just because you recently accepted a new job that you now have to officially be off the market. Okay, so the final part is what to do before you leave your current job. Okay, so for this, I've got 3 things. Number 1 is find someone who really liked you in the company and have them write you a letter of recommendation. I know you just landed a new job, but the chances are at some point you are going to be back on the job market and it looks great to have letters of recommendation. Other thing is don't just try to get it from a peer, try to get it from a manager or a trainer or someone at a higher level than you. The next thing is get all the info that you need from this job that could help you in the future. So what I mean by this is, especially if you're like in sales, if you have stats, if it shows that you met quota, if you have proof of any awards, things like that, email them to your personal email. If you need to just write down like, I beat quota by this amount, I did this and that, get all of that information while you still have access to all of your reports and databases so that you can have that for the future to write in your brag book or so that you can touch on it in future interviews as part of your experience. The last thing is electronically save or email your first and last pay stubs. So a lot of companies will require you to do background checks, and some background checks in order to verify your employment or your past job experiences, they want your first and last pay stubs. Otherwise, sometimes it's difficult for them to verify or it just takes longer. So preparing for yourself in the future, save that first and last pay stub while you still have access to your company's databases or online HR system. All right guys, that is all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you found any of the information helpful, please let me know in the comments below. I love hearing your guys' feedback. Thank you again so much for joining me, and I will see you in next week's video.